A lot of stuff that we might be asking for, we don't really know what life comes with that. Blessings sometimes people think is what they want in their lives, not what's actually realistic for them in their lives. Because having things without an actual position is what deception is. I feel like we pray for God to remove this bad experience, remove the feeling that I'm having from this experience. What I should have been praying for was for God to fix my perspective. Hey guys, welcome back to Unspoken Truth. I am your host, Natalia Unseld, and today's episode is episode 12. And I'm super excited to be back once again. I want to start this episode off by saying nothing crazy in my life has really been happening. I've been feeling good. Everything's going well, right? But one thing I do want to say is that I've been feeling kind of foggy-ish, like brain fog, autopilot, if you will. And I just wish that I was a little more present in my life. I just feel like a lot of people can benefit from what I'm about to speak about today. I noticed I was doing a lot more things that would give me more of a quick fix. So because I knew I was in this brain fog, weird thing, I was just getting up and getting ready for work. There was nothing really that would help me jumpstart my day. I was just, doing that. I think one thing that really picked up in the midst of me being just out of it kind of was that I was scrolling more on social media. I was not in the gym as much as I should be. I'm in the gym now, but at the time I wasn't in the gym as much as I should be. It's just why, because I think a lot of times we have goals and things that we wish we could do. For me, I wish I was a little more present in my life. Because of the goals that we're not fulfilling, it's almost like we replace it with something else. But it's not necessarily that we just love to be out of the gym, or it's not that we just love to stay in the bed longer, doom scrolling. It's dopamine. We just love the dopamine rush that we get when we are on Instagram longer, on TikToks longer. This episode isn't just to be if you're not disciplining your life, is it going to look the way you want it to? That is not what this episode is. It's to show you how instant gratification is eating us up bit by bit, and it is slowly destroying us. Sometimes I think that we mislabel things and say we struggle with this or we struggle with that, but it's honestly just the feeling behind every single one of those things, and it can be found in everything else in our lives. It's not that we struggle with procrastination, and it's not that we struggle with this. It's that behind procrastination, what is it really? You know what I mean? That's what it is that we're honestly really struggling with. Maybe if you're struggling to get back in the gym and struggling to eat better foods, even though you said you would, it's not necessarily the want that's messed up. It's not that you don't want to actually do that. Everybody wants a nice body. Everybody wants to be healthy on the inside. It has nothing to do with the want. It has everything to do with the discipline beneath the want. I hate when I see motivational speakers say you must not want it bad enough if you're not getting it. And that could be true, but it's not really the want that's the problem. It's really how disciplined are you to do the little things that get you to what you actually want to do, because there's so many smaller ways that we don't show up for ourselves, and that can track into why we aren't doing what we actually want to do. And one thing that I have to say is how you do one thing is how you do everything. And for a second, I really had to reflect, I'm gonna go all the way back to even before I had the podcast. Before I had the podcast, I was wondering why it was taking me so long to just start it. And it wasn't that I was camera shy, and it wasn't that I didn't have the means to do it. I didn't realize how many small areas in our life actually require discipline, and how I wasn't showing up for any of them. And that's why I think it was really hard to actually start the big thing, which was the podcast. I think some of us actually tend to jump the gun of what's actually a reality for us and what's actually realistic within our field of range. Sometimes I think it's a lot easier to imagine how you're going to accomplish a goal that requires all these exciting things, like moving here, working here, quitting that job to get this job. It's easier and it's more exciting to think about how you're going to do these big things. But sometimes we don't even realize that's not even realistic, because how are we going to maintain that? You know what I'm saying? This is what I think God really does provide us with what we can handle. How could God trust us to maintain the big thing that we keep asking and praying for when we can't even maintain the little thing that's right in front of us? I've caught myself being a little unrealistic and a little delusional, because it's I want this, I want to move here, I want to have my kids here, I want to da-da-da. You can't even remember the last time you actually showed up for yourself. That's what would really eat me up, and I would just be oh, okay. It's one of those tough conversations that I think a lot of us should probably start having. And that leads me to my second point of, we've honestly just been conditioned to think this way, by society, by everything around us, the music, the food, the culture around us. Everything has conditioned us to think that instant gratification is the way to be. And I think that's one of the downsides of technology too, because technology was meant to, and I really don't want to be that person that's like Jaden Smith, you know, that meme that's the world, nobody wants to talk about the politics and the state of the world. I'm not here to be that person. I think that's really one of the downsides of social media too, is that it really we've taken it too far. Like, yes, social media was meant to give us like something to do when we don't have anything to do. Or maybe we want to be in everybody's business and everybody's tea and now we're bored. Like, of course, that's what it was here for. We're doing ourselves a disservice. We really don't give ourselves or our brain time to like wander and have a problem solution type of like rhetoric. Instant gratification is shown in everything around us. And it's not just in doom scrolling. People who want like instant new bodies, people are getting plastic surgery left and right. You want to get instant homework answers, chat GPT. You want to have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, dating apps. You want to have your groceries at your door, Walmart.com. But one thing that I've really noticed is that what comes quick will leave quicker. The world is trying to condition us to believe that like anything artificial must be better than the real thing. Like, that's why I say so much stuff that we see, so many things that we see today, we might be really seeing it in the wrong way. But because it's offered through social media and it's offered through celebrities, we are thinking, oh, it must be okay. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're really losing the plot here. Like, too much time on our hands is what it's giving, like too much. And this leads me to point number 4. Instant gratification doesn't just lead us to feel more like negative things like loneliness and just wanting to do things that may not be in our best interest. It leads us to comparison to other people's lives a lot too. Like sometimes we see what other people have, and some people will really think like, oh, she got it, I can get it better. He got that car, I can get that car today. But it's almost like a validation thing, like, oh, I want that career today because I'm smart and I know I'm capable of doing it, and nobody can tell me that I'm not. Like, I want that job today and I know I'm more than capable of getting it. Like, it's almost like a conceited thing, but it's also like a validation thing. Like the things around us we want to obtain just to validate who we are on the inside type of thing. Because that led me to really look at my own life. Like, I'm looking at my life and I'm like, I want to be more challenged at my job. I want to show my boss that I'm capable of this. Like, one day she'll promote me. Like, I'm really just looking for it. But I'm also like, babes, like, you've been here for 4 months. Like, chill. Sometimes we take that rejection and we turn it into what we're not. A lot of stuff that we might be asking for, we don't really know what life comes with that. So I think sometimes I even had to humble myself. Like, girl, maybe the reason you also aren't really getting like promoted because you also just got there, but also God needs your mind somewhere else right now. He needs your mind to be focused on the area that he's actually trying to push and actually trying to grow in your life. We think sometimes that we can stay how we are and then still get another blessing or still get something that we want. But sometimes that requires a part of our lives to change. Sometimes that blessing that we really want so bad requires our life to change. Like, if you were to get promoted or if you were to get that thing that you want so bad, you may not have the time that you have to talk with your friends, have more of a social life. And if you have kids, you may not have as much time to spend with your kids. You may not have as much time to enjoy yourself in the little ways that you might have taken for granted. Just because we get something doesn't mean that it's ordained by God or that it was meant to stay in our lives. That's why some people's lives can look like, big house, big car, wife, family, 3 kids, nice clothes, nice shoes. The next thing you know, you see that person trying to make ends meet with their own job, divorced. It could really change like that, but it's really because none of those things were meant to stay. None of those things were meant or ordained by God. A lot of the flashy things that we want, and I'm not just saying for people who are materialistic, but a lot of people, like I said in my last video, who put such a harsh stamp on their life and say, I want to own this by 28. I want to be here by 30. I want to have kids by 28. There are people who really think blessings are supposed to mean something completely different. Like, you know what I mean? Like, blessings sometimes people think is what they want in their lives, not what's actually realistic for them in their lives. And that's kind of like, imagine me thinking I was blessed because I had a Gucci belt or thinking I was blessed because I had a Birkin bag. Like, stop thinking you're not blessed because you don't have things, like tangible physical things. Because having things without an actual position is what deception is. The way that God will really show us if something's not meant for us is how quick that thing leaves our life. Sometimes we think so selfishly and say like, why haven't I got promoted? Well, even though I'm not working here, I'm going to move here and work here and show everybody who I am. Like, that's so selfish to think if you really think about it, because it's like, how can you think that you're not blessed or that you're not blessed until you get that job or you're not blessed until you get that promotion? When a lot of times you're more blessed than the next person because you're in position to get somewhere. You know what I'm saying? The position is what matters. People have all these things and they have the house, they have the wife, they have the kids, but they were never in position to hold all of that because it was not ordained in their life. That's why I had to slow down, because I'm like, Natalia, you cannot be mad that you're working your butt off and you don't feel like no one's noticing, but at least you're in position to get promoted. Like, somebody who looks at your life will probably switch lives with you in a snap of a finger because you don't even realize what you have. Are you in position to actually elevate? Are you in a position where you're in a room full of people who can make big decisions? That's what matters. God is not blessing you so that you can stunt on the next person. God is not blessing you so you can show the haters. Some people really just want to be acknowledged and congratulated. Like, listen to, like, if you ever really want to get to know somebody, ask them their goals, but also ask them what matters to you most. What do you value the most? If it's anything physical, if it's anything that's tangible, gone. Red flag, bye. But one thing our generation, I just pray that we do, y'all. Even with when I have kids, I'm going to make sure that I nurture them, and I'm going to make sure I show them, like, I see you, I notice you, you're doing great at this. Acknowledge them, because the people, you can tell when people haven't been like nurtured in that way growing up, because they try to be the loudest person in the room. They try to be flashy with anything that they got. They're never humble. They're always very cocky. They're always very arrogant. They're always talking about things that nobody brought up. Like, oh, did you know it's like, I asked you what your favorite color was. It's kind of sad, honestly, because there are people who legitimately feel like the only thing they have to offer is something physical. Like, you'll find this in a lot of like relationships too. Like, it could be a girl or a boy, like a girl who feels like the only way she can feel loved is by giving her man like all these things and all these physical gifts. Because I've talked to like my dad and stuff too, but we've also talked about how like it's not very popular for men to be nurtured in an emotional way. And I think sometimes men can also feel like the only thing they have to offer is physical things. There are some women out there who feel like all they have to offer in a relationship are physical things. And it's very sad, because you can tell that a lot of people don't prioritize acknowledging and showing up for their kids and saying, hey, I see you. Like in the little things, not just when they win something or do something big, you know? And that leads me to point 5. Another consequence of instant gratification is distorted perspective. Sometimes we have such a fixated perspective on what's good and what's bad based off what happened to us. Sometimes I wish I didn't know as much as I did, so I can just go about things a lot easier, like about things, about people, about myself. Sometimes people really joke and say like ignorance is bliss because you know nothing. But when you know so much sometimes and you've seen a lot as well, it's hard to just like go about life. It's easier going to what we see right in front of us versus praying about it. That's pretty much instant gratification. Since we have a relationship with the things that we weren't supposed to really do, and we have a relationship with like what's good, like some people journal, some people pray, some people self-reflect to other people. Like, since we have a relationship with good and bad, sometimes our perspective can be distorted because sometimes we crave what we shouldn't. And that's just because we're human, but it's hard to kind of like balance the two. Sometimes we take our experience, and because it was a bad experience, we say it's bad and that it's not good for us. But without the pain and without the infliction upon our lives, we wouldn't know what to stay away from. We wouldn't know or see things for what it was actually for. And I always told my friends, like, I feel like I'm doing more X's than check marks. Like I'm out here being like, no, maybe, no. Like, it's so annoying having to always do that, because sometimes you want to just exist. You want to just be. But I have to realize that that's why we can't wish for things and compare too much to the point where we want what somebody else has, because you don't know what that blessing comes with. You don't know how long it took them to get there. You don't want to wish to be in somebody else's shoes. That's why I never wish to even have an opportunity that came to somebody else, because I want it to come in my life on its own time. You don't know what relationship that person has with their mom. You don't know what relationship they have with their family. You don't know how long it took to get there. You don't even know what their support system looks like. Like, even with me, when I say I wish I didn't know as much as I did, but I'm talking about like things that I really want to do, but I can't, because I know for a fact, I can see it in my mind sometimes how it'll play out, and I have to like remove myself, you know what I mean, from the environment. But that same discernment doesn't come as easy to everybody else. That's what I had to realize God was really telling me, was that stop being so ungrateful for feeling like nothing works out for you. Be glad that you saw it. Be glad that you noticed and knew what to do next, because a lot of people get stuck in the loop of a lesson. Be glad that you knew what it was and knew what to do next. That's why when I see somebody have their first car, first apartment, congratulations. And I leave it at that, because at the end of the day, they are struggling with things that come second nature to you. They are struggling with things that you would never think to be hard for you. So everybody has their place and everybody has their blessing at the right time. And also, if you just feel like, you know, maybe you're in my same shoes where you feel like you just know too much sometimes and you wish you didn't know as much, just understand that like human malfunction, human error shouldn't be the reason why you label something bad, or maybe you blame God for something, or maybe you're mad at God and you stop, like, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes I think we take the experience and make it actually bad, when sometimes a lot of stuff happened to us in our favor. And that's when we'll, see the lesson of it all, and maybe we'll get the blessing at the end of the day. But a lot of times are meant for us to just see ourselves. I feel like we pray for God to remove this bad experience, remove the feeling that I'm having from this experience. But I realized that what I should have been praying for was for God to fix my perspective. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I feel like this would be like a pretty short one, not too short, but hope you guys got what you needed, and I definitely got what I needed, because every episode, y'all, I'm telling y'all, I talk to myself on here. But anyway, I will see you guys next week, and thanks for tuning in. Bye.